Hello, everyone. Welcome to Little Chapel of Faith. My name is Tina. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. We have platforms on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. If you're on any of those or all of those, please like, subscribe, and share. We're here with the readings from the Diary of Faustina. So let's begin. We are on book 5, number 1500, page 538. So let's begin. Today, the love of God is transporting me into another world. I am all immersed in love. I love and feel that I am loved. And with full consciousness, I experience my soul is drowning in the Lord, realizing the great majesty of God and its own littleness. But through this knowledge, my happiness increases. The awareness is so vivid in the soul, so powerful, and at the same time, so sweet. Now that I have difficulty sleeping at night because my suffering won't allow it, I visit all the churches and chapels, and if only for a brief moment, I make an act of adoration before the Blessed Sacrament. When I return to my chapel, I then pray for certain priests to proclaim and glorify the divine mercy. I also pray for the intentions of the Holy Father and to obtain mercy for sinners. Such are my nights. January 20th, 1938. I never cringed before anyone. I can't bear flattery, for humility is nothing but the truth. There's no cringing in true humility, although I consider myself the least in the whole convent. On the other hand, I enjoy the honor of being the bride of Christ. Little matter that often I hear people say that I am proud, for I know that human judgment does not discern the motives of our actions. When at the beginning of my religious life, following the novitiate, I began to exercise myself, particularly in humility. The humiliations that God sent me were not enough for me, and so in my excessive zeal, I looked for more of them on my own, and I often represented myself to my superiors other than I was in reality. And spoke of miseries of which I had no notion. But a short time later, Jesus gave me to know that humility is only the truth. From that time on, I changed my ideas, faithfully following the light of Jesus. I learned that if a soul is with Jesus, he will not permit it to err. Lord, you know that since my youth I have always sought your will, and recognizing it, have always tried to carry it out. My heart has been accustomed to the inspirations of the Holy Spirit, to whom I am faithful. In the midst of the greatest din, I have heard the voice of God. I always know what is going on in my interior. I am striving for sanctity because in this way I shall be useful to the Church. I make constant efforts in practicing virtue. I try faithfully to follow Jesus, and I deposit this whole series of daily virtues, silent, hidden, almost imperceptible, but made with great love, in the treasury of God's church for the common benefit of souls. I feel interiorly as if I were responsible for all souls. I know very well that I do not live for myself alone, but for the entire church. O incomprehensible God, my heart deserves in joy that you have allowed me to penetrate the mysteries of your mercy. Everything begins with your mercy and ends with your mercy. All grace flows from mercy, and the last abounds with mercy for us. Let no one doubt concerning the goodness of God, even if a person's sins were as dark as night. God's mercy is stronger than our misery. One thing alone is necessary, that the sinner set ajar the door of his heart, be it ever so little, to let in a ray of God's merciful grace, and then God will do the rest. But poor is the soul who has shut the door on God's mercy, even at the last hour. It was such souls who plunged Jesus into deadly sorrow in the Garden of Olives indeed. It was from his most merciful heart that divine mercy flowed out. January 21st, 1938. Jesus, how truly dreadful it would be to suffer if it were not for you. But it is you, Jesus, stretched out on the cross, who gives me strength and are always close to the suffering soul. Creatures will abandon a person in his suffering, but you, O Lord, are faithful. We're going to leave it there for today. Oops. And we will be back tomorrow with more. We had a very long Bible reading this morning. And unfortunately, because I have very little time in the morning, it took up a lot of the time. So I want to make sure I get these out to you. So I always try to do that before I go. But anyway, that is all for today. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Be well, be safe, be kind to each other. May God bless us all.